In Deerfield, Texas, fall meant one thing: football. The town's identity pulsed with every touchdown, every chant from the bleachers, every pair of cleats sprinting across the turf under Friday night lights. It wasn't just a game, it was the glue that held the town together. Churches changed service times for home games. Restaurants hung Hawks banners in every window. People who didn't know their council member's name could recite every stat from last season. And no one represented that devotion more than Coach Rick Daly. He wasn't just a coach. He was a legend. Former college linebacker. 4 state titles under his belt. A man who turned misfit boys into champions. When he walked down Main Street, people stopped him for photos like he was a celebrity. For years, rumors had swirled about universities trying to recruit him. Some said even the NFL made offers, but Rick never left Deerfield. He always said the town saved him after his wife died. He owed it everything. That Friday night, the air was crisp with the first breath of autumn. The stands were packed by 6, an hour before kickoff. The Hawks were facing the Gulfport Gators, a team with a losing record and not much to fear. Everyone expected a blowout. The parking lot buzzed with tailgaters in team colors. Students painted their faces, the marching band warmed up, and hot dogs sizzled behind the bleachers. Among the press in the crow's nest sat Ava Blanton, tapping her pen on her notepad. Ava had once cheered in these very stands, but now she was back as a reporter. The Deerfield Gazette was a small-town gig, sure, but Ava had bigger ambitions. She wasn't writing puff pieces anymore, she wanted investigations, the kind that made people squirm. Football was sacred here, and something about that always made her suspicious. She scanned the field with her binoculars. There was Jax Monroe, the Hawks' golden boy. He was tall, fast, precise, every scout's dream. Rumor was he had offers from UT and LSU on the table, just waiting on a solid postseason. Ava had interviewed him just a week ago. Smart, focused, and polished. Too polished, maybe. Something's off, she murmured, as Jax overthrew a warm-up pass by 5 yards. Kickoff came. First quarter ended scoreless. By halftime, the Hawks were trailing 21-3. And Jax? He looked like a ghost. His throws were wobbly. He hesitated in the pocket. He fumbled the ball twice. Fans were on their feet, shouting. One angry dad near the 40-yard line was already muttering about calling the Booster Club. Coach Daly stayed calm. Too calm. He clapped Jax on the back, whispered in his ear. When the team jogged into the locker room, Ava noted how the coach put a hand on Jax's shoulder, squeezing, not in comfort, but in control. After the final whistle blew and the Hawks had lost 27-10, the post-game routine kicked in. Reporters jostled for quotes. Ava approached Daly near the sideline. Rough game tonight, coach, she began, notebook ready. Was Jax injured? Just an off night, Daly replied. Kid's got a lot on his mind. He'll bounce back. But as he turned to go, Ava overheard him mutter under his breath to Jax, "Don't make me remind you what's at stake." Her ears pricked. She jotted it down in the margins of her notes. In the locker room, Miles Turner, the backup QB, lingered. He was used to being invisible, good enough to make the team, not good enough to matter. But he paid attention. He saw the way Coach Daly had been treating Jax lately. The long talks after practice. The icy silences during team meetings. Something had shifted this season. Everyone else cleared out. Coach Daly disappeared into his office and didn't realize Miles was still there. From behind a row of lockers, Miles watched through the cracked blinds of the coach's door. Daly lit a match. Dropped it into a metal trash can. Papers curled and blackened in the flame. Miles squinted. Just before the fire consumed the label, he read 3 words, Player Medicals, J. Monroe. His stomach twisted. That night, Ava sat at her laptop in the dim glow of her apartment. The screen showed stats from every game this season. She had a theory. She was going to prove it. Jax's numbers, once consistent and top tier, had begun to slip. Not dramatically, just enough. A pass thrown slightly wide here. A run cut short there. Nothing glaring. Nothing a scout would notice. But Ava did. Game after game, the pattern formed. Against strong opponents, Jax played sharp. Against weaker teams, where the Hawks were expected to win, he always made just enough mistakes to let the other team pull ahead. It was subtle. Almost elegant. But once she saw it, she couldn't unsee it. She cross-referenced game days with betting forums. Local chatter. Booster club donations. Even regional sportsbook odds, technically illegal in Texas, but she knew where to look. There it was, spikes in betting activity during games Deerfield should have won easily, but didn't. She leaned back in her chair, heart racing. Either it was all a coincidence, or someone was rigging the outcomes. The next day at practice, Miles approached Jax in the parking lot. "You okay?" he asked. "You didn't look like yourself last night." Jax looked away. "Just tired. Got a lot going on." Miles hesitated. Then blurted, "I saw Coach burn your medical file." Jax froze. His jaw tightened. "I didn't mean to spy or anything. I was still in the locker room." Jax stared at him, then checked to make sure no one was watching. "You need to drop this," he said quietly. "Why?" "Because it's bigger than you think. Bigger than me." There was fear in his voice, not anger. Fear. He turned and walked away. That night, Ava received an anonymous email from a burner address, deerfieldtruth@protonmail.com. No subject. No signature. Just one sentence and an attachment. Asked Daly about the pills. The file was a scanned prescription pad, with Coach Daly's signature, authorizing high-dose painkillers in Jax's name. Dated 2 weeks after his shoulder injury last fall. Except Daly wasn't a doctor. He wasn't allowed to write prescriptions. And the listed doctor had died in 2019. Ava's heart pounded. She stared out the window of her apartment at the empty field behind the school, lit by the moon. Somewhere down there, a kid was risking his future. A coach was playing puppet master. And the entire town, drunk on tradition, refused to look past the scoreboard. She opened a new document. Titled it Friday Night Fix. And began to write. The news spread like wildfire through the halls of Ashgrove High. By Monday morning, whispers filled the corridors, someone had tipped off the school board. The upcoming game against their fiercest rival, Millstone Prep, was now in jeopardy. Coach Darnell sat in his office, jaw tight, eyes scanning a letter he received that morning. It was an official inquiry from the district's athletic committee. Someone had submitted evidence suggesting forged academic records for 2 of the team's star players. He slammed the paper down. "This is a hit job," he muttered. But deep down, he knew it wasn't baseless. Meanwhile, Carmen Alvarez, the school journalist and the principal's daughter, was quietly piecing together a much bigger story. While looking into suspicious grade changes for her independent journalism project, she stumbled across digital footprints suggesting mass academic fraud, mostly among football players. And not just from this season. It had been going on for years. She confronted Mr. Raleigh, the vice principal, after school. "I know about the grade changes," she said, sliding a flash drive onto his desk. "And if I know, others will soon too." He looked up from his desk, sweat beading at his temple. "You don't understand what you're getting into. Then explain it." Mr. Raleigh stood slowly, drawing the blinds. "It's not just grades, Carmen. There's money involved. Scholarships. Boosters with deep pockets. If you publish this, you're not just ending a football program, you're lighting a match to a house built on gasoline." Back at the locker room, quarterback Jackson Reese and linebacker Devin Burke were having it out. "I told you not to tell anyone about the SAT swap," Jackson hissed, shoving Devin into a locker. "I didn't. But someone clearly did," Devin shot back. "You think Coach can protect us now? What if we blame it on someone else?" Jackson said, his voice low. "We pin the fake scores on the guidance counselor. Say she helped students boost their records for college." Devin looked uneasy. "You want to take her down?" She's retiring next month. She's got no reason to fight it. Unbeknownst to them, someone was listening. Carmen had planted a recorder in the locker room earlier that day. She had everything she needed. That night, she played the tape for her best friend Mia, a tech whiz who'd helped her analyze the digital trail. "I think they're planning to cover more than just grades," Carmen said. "And I think Coach Darnell knows. There's been a pipeline of scholarships tied to this program for years, players who shouldn't have graduated going to top colleges. If I don't expose this now, you'll be targeted," Mia finished. Carmen paused. "I think they already know it was me." As if on cue, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number: "Stop digging, or we'll bury you." The next day, Coach Darnell called an emergency team meeting. Carmen wasn't the only one who'd received threats. Devin had found slashed tires on his car that morning. Jackson's parents had received a cryptic call warning them to keep their boy quiet. Darnell faced the group. "This ends now. We get through the Millstone game, then we deal with it. No one says a word to the press, or anyone else. You hear me?" But the fracture lines were already spreading. That night, Carmen received an anonymous envelope. Inside were photos: Coach Darnell accepting a briefcase from a local construction mogul at a gas station parking lot. One of the school's biggest donors. The caption simply read, "This isn't just high school football. It's business." Her hands trembled as she held the evidence. It wasn't just about kids cheating. It was a machine, funded, protected, and perpetuated by adults with too much to lose. Suddenly, a window shattered behind her. A brick lay on the floor of her living room. On it, scrawled in red, "Final warning." The scandal wasn't just threatening to explode, it was coming for her. And with the big game days away, Carmen had a choice: go public now and risk everything, or play her cards closer to the chest and wait for the perfect moment to take them all down. The night of the Millstone prep game arrived under a sky thick with storm clouds. Lightning flashed on the horizon like a premonition. The stands at Ashgrove High were packed, buzzing with energy, but an unshakable tension hung in the air. The players warmed up on the field, trying to ignore the murmurs in the crowd about the investigation, the threats, the accusations. The air felt like it might crack from the pressure. Carmen sat high in the bleachers, notepad in her lap, but her attention was elsewhere. The photos of Coach Darnell. The recorded confessions. The threats. It was all sitting on a flash drive inside her jacket pocket. She had everything she needed to take down the entire corrupt system, but there was one piece still missing. Proof of who was bankrolling it all. That proof came just before halftime. Mia texted her from the school parking lot, "You're going to want to see this. South entrance. Now." Carmen slipped away from the crowd and made her way around the gymnasium. Mia was crouched behind a row of hedges, camera in hand. Through the branches, they had a clear view of Coach Darnell speaking with none other than Bruce Whitaker, a wealthy local developer who had contributed heavily to the school's new stadium. "He's the one," Mia whispered. "I ran the Booster Club records. He gave over 200 grand this year. And look, he's handing Darnell another envelope." Carmen hit record on her phone. They couldn't hear the words, but the body language said enough. Darnell nodding. Whitaker tapping his watch impatiently. A firm handshake. And then Darnell stuffing the envelope into his duffel bag before walking away. Mia turned to Carmen. "That bag's going to the locker room. If we get it, it's over." Back inside, the second half of the game began. Ashgrove and Millstone were tied. Jackson Reese was bleeding from the lip but wouldn't leave the game. Devin was playing like a man possessed. It was more than pride on the line, it was their futures, their freedom. Carmen slipped into the school, heart pounding. The hallway lights buzzed above her. The locker room was just down the corridor, but she wasn't alone. Mr. Raleigh stepped out from a side office. "You shouldn't be here." She held her ground. "You know what Darnell's doing." His face twitched. "I tried to stop it once. Years ago. Got threatened with losing my pension. My family needed that money. So I shut up. But I never wanted this. Not the threats. Not the bribery. "Help me," she said. He hesitated, then reached into his pocket and handed her a key card. "You have 5 minutes. Get out before someone sees you." Inside the locker room, she found the duffel bag. Inside, gear, papers, and an envelope full of cash. She took photos. Stuffed the envelope back. Then she placed her own envelope inside, a printed copy of her entire exposé. "Your playbook's out," she wrote on the first page. Back in the stands, the final minutes ticked down. The game was tied. 4th down. Last play. Jackson called the snap. Devin blocked like his life depended on it. Jackson faked left, then launched the ball across the field. Touchdown. Ashgrove won. The crowd erupted. But on the sidelines, Coach Darnell looked pale. He had read the letter. The next morning, Carmen uploaded her exposé. She included audio, photos, and screenshots of booster fund transfers. It went viral before noon. Fallout came fast. Darnell was placed on leave. The district attorney launched an investigation. Bruce Whitaker's office was raided. Several scholarships were frozen pending review. Jackson and Devin both stepped forward to cooperate, confessing to their roles but also helping expose the full scope. Carmen's story sparked a statewide review of athletic programs. She was invited to speak at a national journalism conference. But it wasn't victory she felt. It was grief. A town that had put so much faith in a team built on lies. Students who trusted adults to guide them, only to be used as pawns. Mia sat beside her one afternoon weeks later. "You changed everything." "Did I?" Carmen asked. "Or did I just burn it down?" Mia squeezed her hand. "Sometimes burning it down is the only way to start over." The Ashgrove field sat empty that night. Quiet. Honest. For the first time in years.